Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about automation and staying on top of your APIs even when you are not actively working in Postman. We are going to set up a Postman monitor to automatically run your API request on a schedule and more importantly get alerts if something goes wrong. This is super powerful for keeping an eye on your production APIs, your staging environments, or even just making sure that your data is always fresh. We will set up a monitor for a simple public API so you can see exactly how it works. Let's jump in. First things first, you will need a Postman collection. So let's pick this one, the monitor demo collection, and here I have a get request, one get request, and it's a simple thing. And when I send the get, we get the response 200 OK. So our goal here is to ensure that this endpoint is always up and returning a 200 OK status. So here is my JSON placeholder. Here is my collection. So we have run it already and it works great. Now before we set up the monitor, we need to add a simple test script to our request. So we have our snippet here that checks the status code is 200, and let's run it again, and our tests pass, and we need to test something like this. So this is a crucial step because the monitor needs to know what success looks like. Without a test, the monitor will just report if the request ran, not if the data was correct or if it returned the expected status. I am going to add a basic test. So we have already added it here and we got the 200 OK, and you can see the JavaScript that checks the response to have the status code of 200, and then this test passes. So this simple line tells Postman that hey, if the response is 200 OK, pass this test. So this is a perfect example of a basic health check. Okay, now we have the test in place. Let's create the monitor. So on the right hand side you will see a monitor, and if you don't see it, click on the configure workspace and you will see you have to enable the monitor section in the sidebar, and you will see it, this element. So you have the show or hide. So if it is hidden, enable it, and there you see the monitor and you see a link to create a new monitor. Postman will ask you to configure a few things. First, give a descriptive name. I will just give a simple name, health. Let's select the monitor demo, the collection as current, and if you are using any environment variable, you can select that. But here in this example, I don't have any, so no environment. And if you have any data file, select the file. And the next important thing is how frequently you want to run this monitor. In other words, how often do you want this API to be checked? You can choose from weekly or hourly timer, every hour, and if you want to run it once a week, or week timer if you want to run every day or a particular day or every weekday, and what time you want to run. If you want to run at 10 p.m. in the night, and the next one, you need to select the regions. Automatically select region and manually select region. If you are on a free plan, as I am, you cannot manually select your region, and you need to have a paid plan. So in the free version, you can only have this option. So there is no way you can manually select a geographical region. And if you want to run your API in a particular geographical region to test the latency from different parts of the world, you need to upgrade, and manually you can select. So for now I will leave it as default. And further down you have the notifications. If your test fails, If your API response is not 200 OK, if there is any failure or error, then you need to receive that alert via email. So you need to provide an email, your email here, so you will receive the notification. And there is also stop notification after a number of retries, a number of consecutive failures. Let's say your API runs let's say every hour or every minute. In your upgrade plan, you can select every minute and you can make it run every minute. Let's say your API runs every minute and it keeps failing. It keeps failing, you get notifications for every minute. And that's a lot of emails if it's going to keep failing for an hour or so. So you can set this configuration like, let's say I should not receive a notification, and you can enter a value from 1 to 100. What this means is, let's say I put the number 5. That means it will not send email notification after 5 consecutive failures, because I don't want to clog my inbox with a lot of emails. So that is this setting, and we have some more advanced setting further down, like the timeout and retry. Let's look at this one. Retry if run fails, and you have to read the documentation on how it affects your billing. And you can retry once or you can retry twice. And there is another setting for request timeout. So what this means, there is a monitor cannot exceed 10 minutes. And what this means is, when you set a timeout, it will, when the monitor sends the request, API get request, it will time out after this specific number of milliseconds. Here it's 5 seconds. And then the follow redirects, you can enable this, and if you have SSL validation, you can enable this. And right now I will leave these settings as it is, and you have not scheduled it yet. So once you create this monitor button, click the button, and the monitor has not run yet, because according to our schedule we have set it to run at 10 p.m. So it will run as per the schedule, or you can trigger it manually by clicking this run button. And let's say now the time is 5:17 p.m. and since I have manually executed here, you can see it passed, and the details of the request and how many passed and failed. Nothing failed so far. And let's go to the monitor again, and you can click here and you can run it again and again. And this is what I meant in the previously. If your test fails consecutively 3 times, then you will not get notification after 3 times, because you have set it like that. And you can see a beautiful summary. You can select individual request to see the individual request, and you can also see the console log, and it says when your monitor actually runs, it records what time it started and what is the request, and the run is complete. And you can see it chose the region US East. In the free version you don't have control over where it runs, but if you have a paid version you can always select Asia or Europe or any other region to check the API latency as a latency test. And that's it for setting up a Postman monitor. It's a simple yet incredibly effective way to ensure the health and reliability of your APIs. Subscribe for more QA and dev tips, and let me know in the comments how you plan to use Postman monitors in your projects. See you in the next one.